Welcome to Talmudic Treasures. Today we're learning Nedarim page 69, which discusses the law in which a woman makes a vow. So we said that when she is in the status as called a Naira Hamarasa, so she's a young woman who has the stage of marriage called Erusin or Kedushin performed. So at that moment, we say that the husband and the father have to annul it in order for that vow to not exist. And they only have that one day to do so, or else they lose the opportunity. Alternatively, they have the opportunity to do what's called hakama. They could verify it. And therefore, by them verifying it, it makes this vow strong, and therefore it is considered to be valid, and that's it. You can't annul it because you've now made the decision that you wish to accept it, so then afterwards you can't just simply turn around and have it easily removed. So on this, the Talmud wonders, because you have these two polar opposite expressions in which you could either uphold the vow, and therefore the vow that she makes will remain, or you can annul the vow, which will remove it. What happens if you say the interesting language of I wish to establish and to annul it at the same time? You made one exact statement, and they're all together. Now, the problem is that, as we said, once you've established this vow, you can no longer turn around and have it removed, or as the expression, ein hafara acher hakama. So therefore, we learn out from here that what about the situation, since you said it not one after the other, you said it as one sentence. You just can't say more than one word at a time, but the truth is it's like you all said it at the same time. So the rule of establishing it and then you're not able to annul it should not work. Maybe that rule doesn't apply. So on this, the Ran says that we compare it to a situation where a man goes up to two sisters and provides betrothal money to both of them at the exact same time. So there is a rule that if you are married to a woman and she's alive and she's married to you, so you are not allowed to marry her sister. And if in fact you would give her this money for betrothal to her sister, it's nothing. It's meaningless. You're not legally bound to this woman. You're not married to her in any way because you're already married to her sister. So there's an interesting principle that anytime we find that you cannot do something one after the other, like in this case, you can't marry a woman and then afterwards marry her sister. So if you would have done this act of giving the betrothal money to both of them at the exact same time, it also doesn't work. Which means there's no question, there's not even a doubt in our mind, you are not married to either of these women, and therefore you can go ahead and, for example, marry their sister, a third sister. That would be perfectly fine, because what you did had no meaning. So too, as we're saying here, that even though it's true, you're saying it at the same moment, but since you cannot first establish and then annul, so therefore we say the same thing, even if it was said at the same time, it doesn't work. So if you're not able to do something, and this is an interesting concept that we could apply to other things as well, if you cannot do something one after the other, we will not allow you to do it at the same time either. So just because a person can say, well, okay, the rule is that I can't do one thing and then the other, but maybe if I do things at the same time, maybe that's something which is acceptable. Maybe that's something which is allowed. On this, the Talmud says no. That once you're not able to do, you're focused on one thing and you're not able to do the second thing, then we're not going to say that you doing them both at the same time is going to work either. So if a person has, let's say, difficulty doing two subjects, multitasking, because it's hard to do subject one and then successfully do subject two, for you to do them both at the exact same time is going to be certainly an impossibility. And this perhaps is, again, one of the messages that can be applied in many aspects in our lives.